The sheer panic, the sheer terror of what you're feeling, of what you're seeing. Why? Minnesota Democrats' soft on crime policies are getting out of control. David Braum, 16-year-old, back February 18th, 1988, murdered his parents and his two younger siblings with an axe. February 18th, 1988, he killed his father, Bernard, who was 41 at the time, his mother, Paulette, who was 40 at the time, his younger sister, Diane, who was 13, and his younger brother, Richard, who was 11. He killed them all with an axe in their home, in their bedrooms, in the early morning hours of February 18th. David then went to school, told a friend about it, and that's how the authorities were contacted. He told a friend that he had just killed his family. That friend reported it to an adult, and the authorities went to the house and found the gruesome scene. David was tried. He tried an insanity defense, which didn't work. Partially probably because he coolly and calmly went to school and told a friend about it. He was convicted of first-degree murder in all 4 cases, so 4 counts of first-degree murder. He has been in prison ever since, and he should stay in prison for the rest of his life. Minnesota doesn't have the death penalty. Otherwise, I would say he should have been executed a long time ago. But the Democrats decided, nope, how can we be more soft on crime? We're not soft enough on crime. How can we be more soft on crime? So, 2023, Senate Bill 2909 prohibits life sentences without parole for juveniles and allows inmates to earn early release credits through participation in rehabilitation programs. This change allowed Braum to become eligible for parole. Supervised release, despite having been convicted and sentenced to a life sentence. The decision to release Braum was made by the Minnesota Supervised Release Board, whose members were appointed, of course, by Governor Tim Walz. A Republican tried to get this overturned. State Representative Matt Bliss, a Republican, obviously, attempted to reverse this law with a bill that would prevent early release for those convicted of serious crimes like first-degree murder or 4 counts of first-degree murder in this case. But the bill failed to pass. There have been many critics, of course, about this bill and why there couldn't be some difference to it. This is a pretty extreme case. 4 counts of first-degree murder, and still he is now eligible for supervised release. What gets me is that this is the type of scene that I might have to show up to. But even more than that, killing your parents is terrible. They were 40 and 41 with an axe. Horrific. Like, there's no words that adequately describe how terrible that is. How terrible that must have been for them to go through that. You know, it's not a quick death. It's a brutal, violent death that I'm sure a 16-year-old wielding an axe is not doing a complete and thorough and quick job. He is hacking at you, and you're enduring extreme pain, but also extreme panic. But come on, man. 13-year-old Diane, 11-year-old Richard, each in their own separate bedroom. David went, according to the reports, killed his father first, then his mother, then he went and killed his siblings. Can you just imagine, again, just not only the pain of the violent death, but the panic in a little kid? Your older brother is doing this to you. Why? And he went to each one. He killed his parents, then he went to one bedroom, killed one sibling, and then he went to the other bedroom and killed the other sibling with an axe. And that's what I have to think about when I think about these cases. Everybody talks about abuse and neglect and, oh, how terrible that is and how sad. And we can describe something as a brutal murder and then, over coffee and then finish our donut and move on, or over dinner. Oh, how terrible that would have been. But that doesn't do it justice. Put yourself in a 13-year-old's body in bed, and then your older brother, your 16-year-old brother, and you wake up from the first blow of an axe. Again, the sheer panic, the sheer terror of what you're feeling, of what you're seeing. Why? Why is he doing this to me? Now, from my understanding, David is going to be released on July 29th. And that'll be it. He'll be on supervised release unless he screws up and gets additional charges or violates his release. He will be out. So there's no turning back on this one. The board's made its decision. As far as I know, that's final. And so then I turn to you, citizens of Minnesota, voters. Let's identify who voted for this bill. Soft on crime, Democrats, obviously. Releasing a person who committed 4 gruesome murders of his family members, 2 of which were 13 and 11 with an axe. That shouldn't be a partisan issue, whether this person should be released or not. This person should stay in prison for the rest of their lives. Again, I live in Minnesota. We don't have the death penalty. Otherwise, I would have called for the death penalty. And so we can't change it now. Even if we get Republicans in place, they can't overturn David Brahms. They can't change that decision. As far as I know, they can't pull you out of prison and change administration and then say, nope, now you are going back into prison. It's obvious why that wouldn't work, and I wouldn't agree. I would hope it wasn't like that, and I don't think it is. But so then what do we have to do? We need to vote. We need to vote Republicans in who are not soft on crime. How much longer can we take this? We have Mary Moriarty in Hennepin County who doesn't want to try anybody who's black, even if the victims are black, of violent crimes. She's concerned about the perpetrators. She thinks they're victims. She treats them like victims. She's a defense attorney at heart. The only people she wants to prosecute is cops, of course. She tried that once, spent over $500,000 to try and get a conviction there. Couldn't do it. A cop makes a split-second decision. She tries to charge him. But premeditated carjackings, she doesn't want to charge them. She doesn't want to put those people into prison. So we have to take a stand. At some point, we have to vote these people out and vote people in with more common sense. This is just one case. Obviously, there's so many cases where our government in Minnesota has failed us. Our governor obviously has failed us repeatedly, and he still gets voted in. He's going to go for a third term. And if something doesn't change, he's going to get it. We need to wake up. We need to wake up to this. I've already woken up, but I'm only one person. We need to, this can't happen. In a civilized society, a person who commits 4 first-degree murders, premeditated murders, and chooses an axe as his weapon, that person should stay in prison for the rest of their lives. And he's getting out in 7 days. Minnesota, we need to do better.